So right now we're in the craziest political season ever, and like the theory that I've got about Trump is that Trump is like the first like true celebrity to really run for president, where he built a really big brand on TV. Like right when cable sort of hit its peak, he had The Apprentice. It was on for 10 years, and it was like the top-rated reality show.
Yeah.
He was on Twitter, one of the first people to get millions of users. Like this guy is like on the bleeding edge of succeeding at media, and so here he is, and he's seeing like.
Do you think that was like an accident? Because I feel like I don't feel like Donald Trump looked at Twitter and said,
I got this.
This is I got this exactly.
I think he
But
was.
it worked. To be clear, it works.
I think he wasn't scared of it. Like
Okay.
he was like, oh, you mean if I just step off a few characters? Whoa, I just stirred the pot. Cool, got it.
Okay.
I don't know. I think there's some people that like I don't want to use the word dumb, but it's like you're just too naive and you kind of like walk yourself into this thing. Like, oh, I'm just gonna put my thoughts out here and see what happens. And shit, 1.5 million followers later, that's Donald Trump. You know, like
I mean, he definitely benefits. He's got no filter, right? So like
Yeah,
that,
no
or
filter.
he's winning on Twitter because he's willing to do what nobody else does.
If you listen to his stump speech, he literally says like, New York Times is going out of business, and I can just shoot off a tweet. I think that like sums up kind of like his understanding of it. He's like, I can reach a lot of people, and so anyway, over the years, he's built up a media brand. He saw the rise of politics as a media entity, and like it became kind of productized over the last few decades, and so he saw that and he goes, okay, I'm like a big media brand. I am like they always talk about the CEO.
is he really a big media brand, or
He
does
is a
he,
huge.
does he tell himself
He's a
that?
gigantic
Like,
media brand. It's like everybody knows him as a cartoonish brand. Like, oh, Donald Trump's a rich guy. Donald
Just based
Trump's
off The Apprentice, or what?
over decades. Like,
Just-
Did
just
you watch The
Trump.
Apprentice?
like I didn't. I was aware of it. I didn't really watch it. Like I saw some of the
Did
more
you watch
stuff.
The
I watched a couple episodes. I mean, who didn't see the year
I-
fired? Like,
I loved The Apprentice. It was a great show, and you're right. He was a cartoonish character on it, but I feel like everything he does is like a.
he's like a villain for a
Like, I
reality.
feel like you're giving him
show.
too much credit. I feel like you're saying like he decided to do this.
Yeah.
I feel like he is just a byproduct of it. You know.
He realized that his brand in the 80s was I am a billionaire, and he came out with The Art of the Deal. Like,
But he's not a billionaire, right?
Everything that he's done, though,
Yeah.
has been playing into the person that we all think that he is. He's some rich guy who's doing all sorts of things.
I think he's on some drug and he doesn't know what he's saying. And I'm a billionaire. I'm a billionaire. You say it enough times and people start believing it, and that's our Donald Trump.
So, I mean, whether or not that's true, what's happening is there's clearly this brand building that's happening, and he's seeing like the rise of entertainment politics. So when the Tea Party started to emerge, he was like, oh gosh, hey, Obama was born in Kenya, probably, maybe. And like he just threw this red meat out there at the Tea Party, which was like
He's
this
a
like,
troll.
this
He
new
trolls.
this new brand that existed. He's like, oh, you know, I can go speak to them directly. He threw them red meat, and then here we are 5 years later. He's speaking to that same group of people. Like he was doing customer development for like his own sort of like political audience. And essentially what he's
Way
doing
too
is
much
he's
credit.
saying,
Yeah, too much credit, right?
Too much credit. There's no way he doesn't even know this now. Like,
I-
even after the
I
fact,
feel
I
like
don't think he could say that. You could say it.
Yeah, you are explaining his strategy better than he ever could because it's not his strategy. It's just.
Have
a
you
thing.
seen him say a sentence or write a sentence or anything? Like, when you read a transcript, it's like he can't clearly state any thought. Like,
he
there's
is
no.
now more relevant than ever though, because he is not only a successful media person, he's a successful business person, but now that he's like just entered into politics and he's actually won primaries, like no one can just dismiss him now. He gets to go on Meet the Press. He gets to go to the Aspen Ideas Festival and Davos as someone that did something in American politics that was unique. Like forever, he is now in that world, and that
It's a
world
sad world
is
we live in.
that world is sort of like in the same way that when you end up in Vegas on the Strip, like you've won as a celebrity, you're there forever. Like Britney Spears, like you've won. He like going on that circuit of talking heads that gets to weigh in on everything is like a version of winning to another group of people. And that's where he's gone.
What do you think about this most recent one? So, like, yesterday or the day before, he
Oh,
said
well, what is that? I didn't hear about that.
I don't know, dude. Should we pull up the audio clip? What do we want to do?
So-
He's basically caught on tape with Billy Bush, who I don't even know existed, to be honest.
He was
Billy
a-
Bush.
who is a co-host of like Access Hollywood.
Yeah,
That
sounds
was
like
not aware.
Bizarro Bush brother.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Bizarro Bush brother. He's talking to him and some guy named Zucker. Right? Is that the guy's name? All right. And he went on and he had some comments about women and he talked about how he will go, like, you know, I'm not going to say it. Keep it PG-13 for now. We'll see how this show goes.
Right. He would grab the
But
blank.
grab the, you know, just fill in the blank.
He would say, "Hey, I love beautiful women. You know, sometimes I just find myself kissing them.
No. The best part was he goes, "Give me a Tic Tac. I can't help it. When I get around her, I might start kissing her. And he asked Billy Bush for a Tic Tac.
So what's interesting, Aaron Burnett on CNN last night said, when we were talking about this story, one of my other friends at CNN, another producer, said the exact same thing happened to her. He asked me if I wanted a Tic Tac. He said I should use one. Next thing you know, I'm pressed up against the wall, and he's trying to kiss me. And if I hadn't pushed him away, it probably would have gone further. And now other women who are not in that story are coming out saying the exact same thing.
How is this the first crazy thing that like has come out and like he's probably there's got to be hundreds of these.
This is the least surprising thing to happen in this election, right? It's like we knew something is going to come out where like the Cosby effect essentially. Where people start coming out being like, hey, Donald Trump treated me like shit, assaulted me, abused me, didn't pay me, whatever it's going to be.
Everyone's going to look at the raw footage because part of the story, Rachel Maddow did a really interesting segment where she just talked about like, this story is interesting, but if you look at the details of the story, the way it came out, they said, oh, there we were on the set of The Apprentice, and they were recording, and then Donald Trump says this, and then they edited that out for the show. You know what that means? It's edited out. There is footage of this happening, and that wasn't just one episode. There's many stories. Like, now the race is on to find all the footage out there. Like, what else can we find?
Well, did you actually see the clip?
Yeah, I saw the clip.
So it's like...
They're
in a bus,
He's
right?
mic'd up on a bus, and then he comes and he walks out, and then like you see this with that context, like the hug that Billy Bush insists he get from the very beautiful correspondent is like that much creepier. Yeah.
The question I have is, if you're Jeb Bush, right?
Right.
Where the hell was this in the primary, right? Like you got this like footage that would probably have changed the primary.
Yeah.
You would have not made it.
We can agree that this is like Hillary had a part in this leaking, correct? Like we can agree that that's the case. Or?
So this was definitely we know who the person was, not by name, but we know that it was someone at NBC directly gave the footage over.
And who got the footage? Who broke?
How did
the story?
TMZ not get the footage?
Yeah.
When you were
dropping
talking
the ball, TMZ.
We were talking about like how the best like app marketing strategy is like, check out this app.
Check this out.
And then you were saying there's like a founder version of the blog post about this like, if only I had read this post and done that, I would have. My company would have turned out differently.
Right.
Like I thought of that when you were saying like, where was Jeb Bush on this? Like they're looking at this Oppo dump, and I feel like it's the same thing. This is actually not going to be that consequential. He literally said John McCain is not a war hero because he was a prisoner of war, and like that's lame. He made fun of someone with a disability at the New York Times.
Right.
He
said the Muslim woman couldn't talk. He said Mexicans are rapists. He said
this is
he's indestructible.
This is the BuzzFeed content.
I feel like
strategy.
this one I've seen some effects already. Like
you've seen people unendorse him.
Yeah, this is the most unendorsement I've seen from him, and they're not like going to Hillary, but they're like, we're not going to vote for him.
These people wanted an escape hatch anyway. Like now I got my escape hatch. Like. But I don't think he had any support because those establishment Republicans liked him. I don't know.
I don't think those people matter, right? Like John McCain came out and was like, "Oh, I'm not going to vote for him." I don't think that makes a difference. Like, what is actually going to happen if John McCain votes for him or not? Right?
Does he even move votes?
Have you guys been reading that guy Scott Adams, the Dilbert creator? Have you been reading his blog?
No, but you've been talking about it.
From day one, he's been talking about Trump, saying this guy's going to win.
Yeah, exactly. So he said, like, from the first Trump speech, which I literally thought was like an SNL speech when he first came out and said, like, oh, Trump is running for president, and he had ridiculous things to say. From that moment on, he was like, he's going to win in a landslide. And it was like, no way. There's like whatever 18 Republican nominees or whatever, and sure enough, he wins that kind of as a outright win. And then he says the same thing about with Hillary, and his case is basically like Trump is a master of persuasion. And part of this is like this guy Scott Adams like trying to sell his own book. So like at the end of every blog post, which must be getting tons of hits because it's about how Trump is going to win.
And he's branded as the guy who's calling it.
Right, yeah. He's like, he basically hitched his wagon to this, being like, this is my way to be relevant. So he's like, I'm going to say that Trump's going to win. No matter what comes out about Trump, I'm going to say how that was good for Trump. And then at the end of every blog post, I'm going to sell my book, which it worked. I bought his book. Not a bad book, actually. And his posts are sometimes convincing because he'll break down, for one thing Trump does really well, which is he speaks so simply. And he just repeats himself over and over again about like a handful of things that resonate with like a lot of America. And politicians are doing politician things and trying to talk policy, and he's just catering to emotion.
He's also skipping the dog whistle. He's like, a lot of people will try to speak indirectly to you. I'm literally going to speak directly at you. Like, we're going
Did you just invent that, skipping the dog whistle? Or is that...
Yeah, I just invented that. Like, there's this concept of
Skipping the dog
This
whistle.
concept of dog whistle politics where instead of saying, like, I'm going to stop, black people from voting, you're going to say, hey, I believe in states' rights, which means I believe in a state has the right to decide what the rules are and how to vote.
Right.
Trump
If
is
so, they
literally-
happen to make this decision.
And so by saying
I like
states'
it.
rights, you're like blowing a dog whistle that only your voters can hear.
Gotcha.
Trump is skipping blowing the dog whistle. He's like, I'm just going to talk to you, okay?
Right.
We're like, they're rapists, they're killers. you
Right,
know,
right. They're
roving-
bad, they took your job.
Roving gangs in the neighborhood.
Right, right.
I still
Not
don't
safe, where's your job, the economy, Barack, like just very simple keywords. It's
There's
like
some really bad guys coming in from Mexico. I'm going to stop them with a wall.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? Well, you might be wondering, who's going to pay for the wall? They are going to pay for the wall. Everyone understand my policy. It's like the simplest term.
I still don't understand Hillary's like just looking at this from like, all right, like there's two people that are going for president, you want to win. Why is every single ad that Hillary's saying, oh, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald
Yeah.
Trump? She literally does
She's
not
like
talk
his
about
spokesman,
herself,
yeah.
which is maybe there's nothing to talk about, and maybe that's the problem. But like,
Well, this is strategic, right? This is like her bet was basically let him kill himself. Like,
Right.
we are already ahead. Just like for anybody who's in the middle, like the people who like Trump, people like Hillary.
you don't find that odd though? Like,
There was a leaked memo when the DNC got hacked, and then like a memo came out from how the Hillary campaign changed strategy. It started off as Dangerous Don.
yeah.
Look how crazy he is. And then it actually changed in the middle of the summer to he is just like one of the insiders. And that's what they've been playing on. So like the things they're playing up are he is corrupt. Look at the taxes. All the things that he's doing is only something that rich people with connections know how to do. The Trump Foundation, it's like a corrupt foundation. They're not doing the whole like, can you imagine his finger on the button? Because
Right.
that's actually not really persuading anyone.
That's where they started.
It's like you kind of already know.
What's gonna happen tomorrow then? So she's gonna come out. She's gonna shake his hand. She's gonna have Tic Tacs with her. What's gonna be the what's gonna happen?
Tic Tacs would be a genius move.
She pull the Tic Tac out. Take the Tic Tac. What's up?
There was someone at BuzzFeed a while ago. They have a great political reporting team. I recommend following all of them on Twitter. Compared sort of like the two Twitter accounts. Like Donald is just totally like that's Donald tweeting. Like boom, 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 boom. That's a real tweet. That's totally from his brain. Hillary's is like this completely manufactured. Like they're booting up this big machine. Like all right, pulling the cord. Like all right, here comes the tweet. I believe America should be stronger together.
It's the Twitter equivalent of Hillary Clinton, right? It's like a perfect representation of her. It's a perfect representation of him.
Here's
But I
the-
feel like her strategy is basically like the football team that's just running out the clock.
playing to
it's-
not lose.
Yeah, like okay,
Prevent defense.
we're gonna
It's
run
just
the
like-
ball and we're gonna run prevent defense, and you know what? That honestly does work most of the time. So if she has
So
the
she's
lead,
gonna win because
which-
of prevent defense.
she probably does have the lead, right? I mean, that's kind of the status quo, but.
Yeah.
You know, I guess that's a fair strategy to win the presidency.